If you're a BCBA who's been feeling stuck, unfulfilled, or wondering what else is out there, you just found your new favorite podcast. This is No Broke Behavior Analyst, and I'm your host, Sarah Burby. I'm a BCBA, board certified health coach, certified intuitive eating counselor, 7-figure business owner, speaker, mentor, and most importantly, your biggest hype girl. You already know you can use ABA outside of autism, but nobody ever told you how. Well, at least not until now. I love taking the science you already know and showing you how to turn it into consulting, coaching, courses, corporate training, and income streams that don't require a single session note. Every week, we're talking money, business, mindset, and all the ways your skills can take you places the field never told you existed. Ready to build a life you're obsessed with? Let's get into it. All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of No Broke Behavior Analyst. Today, I am very excited and honored to have one of my clients and good friends, Kathryn, here. She's going to talk all about how she found us, Mind Body Behavior, and me, and her journey into starting her business and recently really growing it and thriving. So, Kathryn, my first question for you, I know this story, but tell everybody that's listening how you got into kind of our orbit or your first interaction with Mind Body Behavior.
I already had left my full-time job and had started my own company, Two Steps Forward Consulting, and was trying to kind of niche down, figure out how to find my ideal client, how to kind of be a business owner. And I had been looking on Instagram to find just like-minded BCBAs who were doing similar things. And I found your Instagram and had been following you for a little bit and but not really interacting, I don't think much. I mean, maybe liking things. And then you posted about the retreat, the first retreat that was in April. You posted about the wait list and getting on the wait list. And so I signed up to get the first information on that. And I was like, I don't know, I'm just gonna go on this. I don't know anything about it. I don't really know her. I just follow her and she seems cool and she seems to be in the space that could help me. And
Yes.
so I just kind of blindly signed up for that. And that was really my first interaction to mind body behavior, was signing up. And then that was when we got added to clinicians doing more. And so by the time the retreat came around, I had been interacting with you and felt like I knew you better, but not when I signed up.
And this is so funny. And this is one of the reasons that I love Kathryn so much because I feel like you remind me so much of me, of just like not knowing something and betting on yourself before you even know what the outcome was, right? Like for the retreat, I was telling you guys, like, it's gonna be awesome and you're gonna love it and you're gonna feel so restored and X, Y, or Z, but I didn't really give you an agenda or what we were covering or anything like that. And you were just like, I absolutely know that if I sign up and I get in the room, it's going to change my life because you also understand that you are the one that has a choice, right? Like you understand that you can absorb all the information, but ultimately it's up to you to take that information and to put it into action. And you've just done that time and time again since I've known you.
Thank you.
Yeah, of
Yeah,
course.
I don't know. It was just like this gut feeling that I just had. I was like, I have told you this before, Sarah, but I had signed up for the wait list and whatever day it was opening up and whatever time I was driving to a school observation and it was 2 hours away. And I was driving and it's like over a mountain. And I was like, well, I'll get there a little early because I gave enough time in case of traffic. And I was trying to do it really quickly in the parking lot to get signed up before I'd go in because I was so nervous it would sell out. And the whole drive, I was like, I don't even know how much this is going to cost. And so I was spending the time trying to think, like, what is my amount that is like, yes, I'm just going to bet on it and go? Or where is it where I'm like, no, you're a new business owner. Maybe you can't do that. And so I was like playing around with numbers in my head, all stressed out about it. And then obviously it all worked out and was absolutely worth it.
And also to note, like Kathryn literally flew across the country, like literally flew from California to New Jersey to come to this retreat. And again, bet on yourself. And on the kind of topic of retreat, what would you say your biggest takeaway from that was? And it could be personal, professional.
I mean, the biggest thing is probably the community and just feeling like I got to know other women who were in the same position I was, a few steps ahead, a few steps behind. Like it was so nice to feel like I wasn't alone. I had wanted to dive into entrepreneurship for a couple of years before I did it, and where I worked was multidisciplinary. And so people would leave and start their own company, and it was kind of a joke like, oh, when you leave, then you just start your own private practice. And so I thought, oh, this is that's a bummer. BCBAs can't do that. And so I spent a while thinking like, bummer, I picked the discipline that can't do private practice unless I start my own clinic, of course.
Yeah.
Um, and then it shifted internally to, oh, I could do it because no one's doing it. So that
Yeah.
means that there is a space for it. But then when I started looking like on social media and really talking to more people, I realized there are a lot of people actually doing it. It's just sometimes you have to look to find them. And then once you're in that orbit, then you realize there's actually tons of people doing it and tons of people doing it successfully. And so
Yeah.
going back to the retreat, it was like, oh, now you've actually met the people. Like now you know them and can text them and feel like you have these real relationships and you're not just I mean, I was just sliding in people's DMs. I was just sending them messages all the time, like random people. I mean, that's probably what I did with you at first too. But I think that was the biggest thing for me from the retreat is just feeling that sense of community.
And I feel like I've definitely talked about this on an earlier episode. I don't know if it was when it was this name or different name of like getting in their room with people and being around other people. I was just at Steph's thing for the last weekend, which Kathryn and I were able to meet for dinner with some of the other girls. But just that I'm always constantly reminded of the power of being in a room with people that just show you what's possible, right? Because especially, I mean, we know our environment is so impactful on our behavior. And I think sometimes a lot of BCBAs get stuck, and I'm curious your thoughts on this too, Kathryn, but I think a lot of BCBAs get stuck in this environment of it's not possible or it's too hard or it can't be done. And then you start to believe that. And I think the opposite is also true. When you're in the environment of people that are like, no, it's so possible and here's what we're doing, you're just can't help but be motivated and to make it work.
Yes. I think we are so busy with our full-time jobs,
Yep.
which is what partially makes most of us want to mix it up. So if I'm going to be busy, it's at least going to be something that, well, that I'm very passionate about and that I'm actually getting the direct results of my hard
Yeah.
work.
Yeah.
And I think we get so busy in that we don't know how to start. Like, I mean, I've never taken a business class in my life. I mean, I didn't even take like econ ever. Like I never took anything like this. My dad's super smart business guy, like my brothers went into business, but me personally, it was new. I had no idea where to start. And so I
Yeah.
think when you have that overwhelm and like lack of direction on how to do it, even if you have that clinical idea, and then you're so busy and burnt out in your job, it is very easy to get in this mindset of I can't do it or I should have started earlier. Now it's just too hard or I'm too deep in this role or whatever life is throwing at you. And so I think when you get in that room and you see people who are doing it, you're like, "Oh, it is possible. Like they did it." And everyone's so encouraging of like you could do it. I mean, Sarah, you talk all the time about how you were pretty freshly postpartum and it's like, yeah, it's hard. It's not to say it's not hard. And when I've talked to people that are just thinking of leaving and starting something and they say something like that to me, I'm like, "It's not easy. I'm not telling you this is the easy way out. But if you want to
100%.
do it, you can absolutely do that. But you don't realize that until you get those people who are steps ahead of you telling you that.
No, I think that's such a good point. And yeah, I think that it is hard. And like I even try to be transparent with you guys and clinicians anymore. Like you guys know when I'm on the highest high and when I'm in the lowest low because I'm still growing too. But I think it's like, yes, of course it's hard, but don't you think it's also hard to be in a job that you're miserable at? Don't you think it's also hard to work 60 hours a week and get paid the same amount of money? Don't you think it's hard to commute and deal with client cancellations and write 40-page reports? Like I think life is going to be hard either way. And so, like, so cliche, like choose your hard, right? But truly, you get to choose which hard you want to have. And I think entrepreneurship is one of the hardest things I've ever done, but also the most rewarding because, and we talk about this all the time in our group of like having a vision and having a why of like, why do we want to do this in the first place? And then when we have days where we can like take off whenever, or you can come to dinner on a random night or go to the retreat and not have to panic about work, it's like that's our why or part of our why, right? But what you said about being kind of overwhelmed in the beginning, because it's funny, right? None of us have taken business class before. We've just heard from other people how to have been there. What would you suggest to someone who is like that, who is like, I want to start a business. I'm just so overwhelmed that I'm like frozen. I just don't even know what to do first.
For me, what I did, and I would probably suggest similar to what I did, but maybe slightly modified, hindsight 2020. But I think just trying to find like one side client. That is what I did. It kind of had fallen in my lap. And I honestly had one side client that I worked with for like the last, year, 2 years maybe that I had my full-time job. And it was not necessarily my niche client. Not at all, actually, just where my business niche is. But
Yeah.
what it showed me was that you could make something work on the side. Even, I was working a ton of hours at my job. I was overseeing 3 clinics and it was a lot, but I saw that I could carve out time for something different. And I started having an income stream that obviously wasn't a ton, but it was nice to see, okay, I was getting that reinforcement, right? I'm the one in charge of it. I could control to a degree how much I saw them or, was able to work with them. And so I think that was really good for my mindset of just this is possible on the side. But otherwise, I think finding that thing you're passionate about, and for me, I just kind of felt like the universe kind of like pushed it on me because I am a chronic overthinker, like probably most people listening to this, but like I knew I wanted to do this for so long before I did it, but I was overthinking exactly what to do and who to work with and what that would look like. And I think the universe finally was like, okay, here, let me like shove it in your face because you need this.
Yeah.
It was just that first client, just seeing like you could do it. Even if it's not ideally what you're gonna do, it gives you that realization that it's possible.
Totally. I resonate with that so much because I also think that there is kind of this culture or this messaging, and I don't know if it's intentional or not, that like people have to just quit their full-time job and then build up their business. And like I didn't even do that. Start part-time. That's what I
Mhm.
did. I was even when I was working at the BCBA in a school, I had part-time coaching clients. Keep those clients. You get market research, you get feedback, you get testimonials. And like you said, I think it's just being willing to obviously if they're within our scope, but take clients even if they're not our quote unquote ideal clients because you're so good at connections too, right? How many referrals do you get from people that you've worked with in the past or doctors or families because
Mhm.
you're so good at connecting with other people and not just being like, nope, you're not my ideal client. I'm not going to work with you. Like even with the call that you got last week, like we were like, I don't know if it's gonna be my ideal client. Let's just take the call and see it. It ended up being a perfect fit, right? But you're
Right.
also open to working with other people outside of your quote unquote ideal client and knowing that that's going to help you build connections and build up your brand and your rapport with other people.
And I think it helps too with figuring out what your ideal client is. Like you can
Mhm.
think this is what I want to do. I feel passionately about it. And then you start working with that type of client and you're like, well, maybe that's not actually what's like lighting my fire. And I think you're going to learn useful things with every client you work with. Like you said, maybe it's testimonials, maybe it's just learning how to get like a contract in place or whatever it is, but it's all steps that are taking you there.
Yeah.
I definitely don't think, oh, I shouldn't have worked with anyone that I have elected to work with. It's just Oh yeah, I got some research on that and that was just not my jam, and that's okay,
Yeah.
but it worked and it was a good opportunity and I'm glad I did it.
Totally, totally. And it's our running joke, Kathryn, that I think you're in all of our different programs, right? So you went to the retreat, you're coming to the fall retreat, in clinicians doing more, now doing our coaching program. But what I think is important to tell everyone that's listening is like Kathryn is not waiting until these things are done to take action, right? Like, because we always talk about that of like, okay, are you using another certification? Are you using this as an excuse to wait and take action? Like, you're the opposite of that. You take action and then you do these things to build up your repertoire and gain more expertise. And I think that's a really important distinction is like the reason that your art, that you're so successful, and I know you're going to continue to be successful, is because you are willing to take action and get feedback, right? From either me or from your clients or from, okay, I put this out there. This is what was working. This wasn't working. And you're always willing to, even if it's not perfect, right? Like we all struggle with that of putting something out that's not exactly perfect, but you're so good at doing that because the faster you do that and the more you do that, you're just collapsing the timeline of how you get to your endpoint sooner, right?
Yeah, and that's not natural for me. That is taking effort on my part, I would like to add. Because what is natural for me is to really think through, like even the coaching program, like the health coaching program I'm starting in the fall, and I heavily debated starting it in the spring. And I was like, no, I can't do that because I didn't want my brain thinking, okay, well, now you're in the coaching program, so you should probably finish that before you can really push for your niche and try to do your marketing for your ideal client. And so I told you that too. I was like, I'm
Yeah,
not doing it this cohort. I'm going to do it next cohort because it's making me push myself to just get out there and do it. And then starting in the fall, I thought, okay, well, then I could be refining things and updating, but I
totally.
was having to actively not, I mean, I would keep going to school, I would keep getting certifications.
Yeah,
I like it, and I think it makes me feel, that imposter syndrome, the expert imposter of just, oh, I should have more knowledge before I start. And so I appreciate all those nice things you said. And I would like to add for the listeners that I have to actively try to do that.
I think that's really important. I feel like there's also this big debate, like you absolutely have to, or you definitely don't have to. And I don't think it's black or white. It's like, why can't it be both? Why can't you put yourself out there and also continue your education if it's something that you want to do? I mean, the coaching program makes sense for you because of what you're doing, right?
Mhm.
But like you said, if you were using it back in the spring to be like, oh, I'm going to wait until I'm finished with this program to put myself out there, think about all the clients that you wouldn't have had in the last 4 months, 6 months, all the connections that you make and things like that.
And I thought too that it did make sense to get started and see and really think, do I think this coaching program is something that is going to benefit my work, or am I just thinking, oh, here's something else I could do? Which
Yes,
of course I do think it would benefit. And I obviously the health and wellness coaching I think would probably benefit a lot of people, regardless of exactly your niche. But I wanted to get started and then make sure that I felt confident in that decision.
totally. Totally. And with the business, so with clinicians doing more in your business, tell the listeners a little bit about what you do and how you've grown. Let's say, how long have I known you?
Yeah.
Close to a year. So
Yeah.
how, like, I guess let me ask you two questions. The first question, what do you do within your business?
I help moms whose kids have just been diagnosed with autism with bridging that gap between diagnosis and being settled in whatever path that looks for them. And so I help them with systems navigation, but also kind of the mindset and understanding of the diagnosis and what that means for the family and help them feel like empowered advocates for their child and not like they're just kind of moving through a system that other people say you should do this, you need to do that. So I feel like over the time that we've known each other, I've really niched down my ideal client. That's what we talk about a lot is just getting super, super specific, which feels counterintuitive. It feels like if you want more reach, be kind of broad. I would say like, oh, maybe if you think your child has autism, or oh, maybe if you just have questions about it. And I think that was just me trying to get reinforcement of like, oh, it fits that client. Um,
Yeah.
they'll say yes. But what I have found too is that the more niche down you get, it you're right, Sarah. It's not it's not shooting yourself in the foot. Like it does help because even like we talked last week, I had a call or a potential client that we thought, I don't think this is a fit. I think they're much further down the road. And the mom said, like her kids are older, like teens. And so that's why I thought that. And when I got on the call with her, she said, "Oh, I saw on your website that you mostly talk to like young like moms of young kids, but I'm still in the same stage because it's recent diagnoses for my kids." And so it didn't hinder anything, right? Like my website talks about like 2-year-old, 3-year-olds, and here this mom is with teenagers. She saw my website. It's not like, oh, good. She doesn't know that that's my niche. She was just like, hey, but I liked you. I liked your personality. I liked your Instagram. And so like, does it still work for me and for my family? And so I think that is probably one of the biggest things that I would say has changed for me over the time we've known each other. And then also I would say just the confidence in it, being able to talk about it, being able to put myself out there, put my, face on things, not just like pretty Canva graphics, which is new and not my favorite, but it's fine. Like that's what I like to see with people. I don't want to see just graphics and not know what the person looks like if I'm going to work with them. Working through that mindset of, okay, if you didn't like how I spoke about this, that's fine. There's other people you could work with. Like I don't need to feel desperate for clients because there's other people that they could work with. And if they don't think I'm a fit, truthfully, like I don't think probably they're a fit. Like you leave like the, traditional roles of ABA where you've worked with some challenging clients or situations, families. And part of why you want to do your own thing is to be able to pick what you do every day. And so, yeah, if they don't find that I'm the right fit, that's great. I'm glad that they did that market research for me and I didn't have to be the one to tell them that they're not the right fit for me.
100%. I am so happy that you just said this and we did not plan this conversation at all. Actually, I literally gave Kathryn no questions because I was like, I don't want you to prepare for this. I just want to ask you questions. But I'm so glad that you just said that because is that not a fear that like every BCBA has of niching down is if I niche down too much, then what if this person or that person won't work with me? And what do I always tell you guys? You're going to niche down so you get your ideal clients, but it doesn't mean that if somebody reaches out that is potentially a good fit that you can't work with them. And you literally just had that experience last
Yeah.
week. Right?
Yeah.
So, like, it's so good and important. And what you just said too, and I tell you guys this all the time, I'm absolutely obsessed with every single one of you because I've been able to curate who my ideal client is, right? The vibes are
Mhm.
good, the vibes are high. I love everybody. We have such good energy. We support each other, but that's because my marketing messaging is very specific about who I essentially want to work with, right? I want to work with people that believe it is possible. I want to work with people that put the work in. I want to work with people that are encouraging and supportive of each other. And if we were going to work with everybody, to your point, we would just be staying in the same setting that we are in before. But like I feel like when I say this, so like when you work in your own business, you can literally have your dream clients every single day. People think I'm crazy, but you just said that too, right? You can actually
Yeah.
see who's a good fit for you or not. And I say this all the time. When someone looks at my page and they're like, oh, the health coaching program is too expensive. I'm not going to go to Sarah's program. I'm going to go to the other one. I said, thank you. Like, thank you, universe, because that person would have been a good fit for our program anyway. And that is okay. And I don't mean that sarcastically. I genuinely mean that. Like, it is okay. And that's why there's multiple people that provide multiple services. Like, it's okay because that also leaves space for your ideal clients to come to you and then you can fully support them.
It takes practice and it is, like you said, a skill to learn too, of feeling okay with that. But when you're thinking of like your why and why did I leave, it's because I want to work with the clients I want to work with. And that's not to say that it's not a challenging client that I want, but it's someone who's willing and wanting to learn and um seeking out the support and all of that. And so even if it's kind of hard, as long as it's this mutual, we've selected each other to work with. And I think that is the biggest change is you don't get that opportunity in a lot of roles that you're in where
Yeah.
you also get to pick, am I the right fit? Are they the right fit for me? Not just am I the right fit for them? So it's a shift from feeling like I had to sell myself. And of course, when you market your stuff, you are selling yourself, but you're selling just this is what I've created. This is what I offer. It's not totally trying to convince why they should work with you if it doesn't seem like it would be that right fit. And that's okay.
And I also love that you just said that they came to you from your Instagram because that has been something that we've been chatting about over the last, like, even when we started working one-to-one together, right? Of like,
Yeah.
and to your point of also feeling overwhelmed, right? Like, especially when you're in the beginning, because trust me, it wasn't that long ago where I was like social media marketer and sales girl and web designs. I know exactly what you guys are experiencing when you're first starting, and it's doing all the things, which can be overwhelming. But you've also done such a good job of like, okay, for the next 2 weeks, I'm going to nail down social media. Right? I'm just going to get into a swing of things of what I'm going to post on what days, who my ideal client is, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I would guess it'd be a little bit easier planning content now than maybe it was a month ago because you have that structure in place and you can be like, okay, now I'm going to focus on my next thing. Maybe it's going to be more lead gen or more collaboration, but you're able to focus on one thing at a time, do it well. Case in
Mhm.
point, someone just found you on social media and I was like, I like your social media. And you're able to just focus on one thing, nail it, and then move on to the next thing rather than letting yourself be like, "Oh my gosh, there's all these things to do. What do I start with?"
Yeah, and that is something that I've been really working on is just picking those focus areas because you do have so many things you could do. It's like sometimes I sit down at my computer to work. I mean, now it's getting better because I'm getting better systems, but I'd sit down and I would have one or of two experiences. One being, I have so much to do, I have no idea where to start, or two being, I'm sitting here and I don't even know what to do. Like it's like you have so much to do, but also no deadlines. So you also kind of have nothing that you know where to start is what I mean. And I think the social
Yep.
media posting was kind of my focus of, okay, let's try to get a system in place. But you kind of have to have these little mini sprints basically of this is my focus for right now. This is what I'm going to get done. Otherwise, you could just spend your time kind of, I mean, I'm expert at it, like dabbling in a little bit of things that are all partially done. I'm very
Yes.
good at that. And
Yep.
trying to get out of that. But something like social media is so hard because many reasons, but one being this mom that's like, "Oh, I like your social media." I don't know if she follows me. I don't know if she just went and looked at it. You think like most so many of my likes sometimes I'm like, "Oh, it's my family. Oh, that's like
Yeah.
my friend," you know. And that's great, but
Yeah.
it's like you don't feel the reward
Yes.
until you get it down the road. And I get it because I see Instagram posts and I don't necessarily like them, but I always like fact check on Instagram if I'm wondering about a I don't know, a restaurant, a person, a company. I go and look at their Instagram and it's not that I'm going through liking everything necessarily, except sometimes now I think more, maybe you should because people could use that
Yes.
reinforcement. But I think that's what's hard is you feel like you keep putting yourself out there and you're like, is this even worth it? But then things like this happen where she says, oh, yeah, I looked at your Instagram and I really liked how you talked on it or you were compassionate about this. And I'm like, oh, okay. So it is working. It is worth it. But you don't know that for the first couple hundred posts you're making and you just keep doing them and hoping that you'll have someone tell you this down the road. And so here I am to tell you, someone will. It's just you have to get there.
And you get there through consistency,
Yeah.
right? There's such a delayed reinforcement, if you will, of
Yeah.
putting it out there and consistency. How many followers do you have on your business page, Kathryn?
Not even 600, like 570 or something.
Not even 600 people, okay? We do not need a big following on
Mhm.
Instagram. I want to shout that from the rooftop. Everyone is obsessed with having a big following. A big following does not equal sales. I am telling you, I know so many broke quote unquote influencers because they are relatable and people are liking stuff and they have cool lives, going on vacation everywhere, and professional photographers. They are broke, people. Kathryn has less
Mhm.
than 600 followers on Instagram, and just someone found her page yesterday or last week, excuse me.
Yeah.
So I think it's so hard that we talk about this in clinicians do more all the time. It's such a mental trick because we're like, oh my gosh, we have this many followers. I posted this and one person liked it and blah, 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 blah. It's like, I tell you guys all the time, people buy stuff that I sell all the time that I have literally never once engaged with my stuff on social media. Most time, the people that engage with me are not buying from me. It's so
Mhm.
crazy.
It is. It because I obviously was thinking, "Oh, I need the likes or I need the followers," and I mean, apparently you don't.
Yeah. You don't, right? It does I would argue, like, I'll shout this from the rooftop, because your marketing messaging got better, there's
Mhm.
also a connection between your marketing messaging and people coming to you and knowing exactly what you're for, right? Because that's another thing, when our marketing messaging is not honed in, people get confused.
Mhm.
I see it all the time. I'm like, "Okay, I don't even know what your offer is," right? I'm looking at your Instagram, but if someone can't tell within, like, 10 seconds of what your offer is, why would they come and book a call with you or do X, Y, or Z? But your marketing messaging has got so much clearer, even in the last 2 months, I would say. And
Yeah.
I don't know, for me, it's easier to post when my marketing messaging is clear because I'm like, "Oh, I know exactly who I'm talking to. I know exactly the outcomes that I can get. I know exactly the transformation that they're gonna get." When it's broader, it's like we're talking to 5, 10 different people, and then I like, for me, that's when I get overwhelmed on what to post because 'cause I'm like, "Who am I talking to today? What is the problem that I'm trying to solve today?" And it gets crazy. That's even when we separated our my page versus my body behavior page.
Yeah, and I think too what helped me is stepping back and looking at just social media in general and pages I follow because you think, okay, if I have my marketing message really honed in and I just kind of talk about the same thing, are people going to be annoyed when she never says anything different? And then if you click on someone's page, like if I go to your page, you talk about the same stuff, especially now that you've separated your Instagrams and I never think, "Oh, she shouldn't post that." And then I'm like, "Well, but I love Sarah, and so maybe I just like the content." So then, you click on another page that you follow that you're, like, not as close to, and it's the same, but you don't
Yep,
really realize it. It's, like, in the mix of your whole feed, and even so, it's like, but I know that that's what that business is, and if I don't resonate with that for whatever reason, I could choose to unfollow, that's not a big deal. But you have to kind of think of it that way because when it's just you and your own page, you overthink it all and you don't want to be annoying and the first unfollow you get, you're like, "Oh my god, what did I do wrong?" But if you think of things that you unfollow, it's not like a personal thing. It's just like, "Oh, I don't need that anymore." You really have to step back like and think of your own Instagram behavior with other creators or just content and what you see and what you think about other people's stuff and realize that people don't care that much. Like, they're not noticing that. They're not like, "Wow, that's the same exact, like, phrasing you put 4 days ago." Like, but people don't care.
no, it's so true, and Steph always tells us this of, like, boring makes billions, right? Like, we get so sick of saying the same thing. I told you guys, when we were talking about the ACT conference, do you know how tired I was of talking about this damn ACT conference? I was like, "Oh my gosh, I can't make another post about it." I would post about the conference twice a day, 3 times a day. I was so bored making that
Mhm.
content or posting about it, and every single time Jeanette and I would post about it, we got new people registering. It was crazy.
Yeah.
I'm like, It's been 2 weeks since I've been posting about this conference, but new people see it. Maybe people don't interact with it the first time, but we, as the business owners, get so bored, especially for a
Mhm.
business owner or probably a visionary, and we have big ideas, we wanna do all the things, and we get so bored just posting about the same thing all the time, but people, even if they see it the first time, they're sure as heck not gonna remember it until the 5th, 10th, 12th time. It's the same thing with the email lists. I know
Mhm.
in clinicians doing more, people are like, "Oh my gosh, what do you do when someone subscribes to your email list?" I'm like, "Happens every day." Every single
Yeah.
day. Every time I send out an email, maybe not every day, probably every single day that I send out an email, I probably have people unsubscribe, and that's
Yeah.
okay. It's actually a good thing because then I have warm people on my email list that are potentially interested in buying or interested in what I have to offer, but it's almost like you said, responding to it in a neutral way versus an emotional way of, like, it's something personal with me. It's just, like, they weren't liking what I was talking about, and that's totally fine.
And it's hard. I mean, it takes practice, and even when it happens, I still have that initial like, "Oh, no." But then I think about it, I'm like, it's fine. They
Yeah.
if they're not gonna want to be a customer, my messaging has shifted over time. Like it's not gonna fit everybody. Also, what I offer is kind of like a temporary thing for people. Like they don't need me forever. So that's fine. And when I unsubscribe from something, again, it's not some personal attack on like that person. It's
Yeah.
just this just doesn't serve me right now for whatever reason that is, and that's fine.
What would you say, and you kind of already answered this, but like biggest advice for a BCBA that's been wanting to branch off, wanting to start their own thing, even if it's just one client here or there, but just has that imposter syndrome or self-doubt or doesn't think that it's possible for them? What advice would you give that person?
I would say the biggest thing is just try it. Like, you often say, like, "What's the worst that could happen?" And truly, like, that's something that I've been putting into my life in other ways too, not just
Yep.
business, but it is true. Like, okay, if you're considering this and you think maybe I want to do this, what is the worst that could happen if you try it? If you try to get one side client while you're working full time, the worst is it takes a while to find one, or you don't find one, or you find one that you realize like you don't prefer having both things. Like, I think it gives you that sense of independence. You start to see what it's like to be the owner of something, like you're the one picking, you're not following insurance guidelines. Hey, what code could I bill for this? Like, you don't have to worry about that. So this is like the first taste of I'm creating this and this is my own. And I think that will help figure out, like, I liked how that felt. Like, that was rewarding for me. I want to do more. And even if the client wasn't ideal or you think of all the things you would have done differently, is
Yeah.
that kind of troubleshooting and game planning and autonomy something that you do want more of? Or is it something that you're like, no, I actually prefer to just be, in a role where I know exactly what to do and I know what's expected of me, and that's fine too. Like, it's not for everyone,
Yep.
but I think just try it. Like, what is the worst that could happen? Not there's nothing. Like, there's no bad that could happen besides you just deciding that's not for me. And that's great because then you would have that, question in your head kind of go away, and it might help you feel more confident in whatever role you maybe decide to stay in. But what's the best that could happen is you realize, wow, I feel passionately about that. I could do it. Now I'm thinking of what's the next step to continue to move down that path.
I think that's so true. It's so true. And like you said, do you want to live your whole life wondering, "Oh, I wonder what would have happened if I tried to do it my own way?" And then even if it's not for you, that's okay. Or what if it is for you and you absolutely love it? I think that's such a good point. A lot of people struggle with that. And also, I don't know, like thinking that it has to be perfect of the first time that they put it out. Like, I love social media too. Obviously, that's how I meet so many of you. But I think sometimes it portrays this picture that like everybody on social media has it figured out and does it perfectly the first time. And like, there's no way in hell that's accurate, right? Like, I
Mhm.
still do things and I'm like, "Oh, that didn't work. I would have done this differently." Like, nobody has it figured out the first time they build it that they put themselves out there, and if they do have it figured out after a couple trial and error, like, when you go to the next level, you're gonna reach that point where you're trying to figure it out again and again and again, and, like, if you're just waiting to feel confident or, like, you have to have it all figured out first, you're gonna be waiting forever. Like, that's just not how it works. We always talk about this. It's like action first, then confidence. Action first, then clarity. And I was just telling somebody last week that was, like, on the fence about joining our coaching program. I'm like, "My job is not to convince you, like, you will know what's best if you wanna join the program or not." I was like, "But I truly believe in my heart and soul, if you have an interest in joining this, like, there's a reason that you have an interest in it. There's a reason that you are even on this call with me." And I think it's the same thing about being a business owner. Like, most people do not have a inkling to be business owners. We are the crazy ones. We're the psychotic ones. Most people do not have that inkling. So I think that if you have that inkling, if you're even curious about it, I truly believe that it was meant for you. It's just, are you willing? How many times have you said to be uncomfortable, to put yourself out there? Are you willing to be uncomfortable because you're going to push yourself past limits that you would not have to do if you're working for somebody else. That's just the truth. It's going to be uncomfortable. Are you willing to be uncomfortable? I know I'm biased, but I think having a community helps because then you're all uncomfortable together. Everyone's learning together and growing together. But are you willing to be uncomfortable to at least try?
1,000,000%. Because I think that you get this gut feeling and this voice that tells you you're interested in it. And again, not everyone has it. That's of
Yeah.
course. But if you do, I mean, I think you owe it to yourself to explore it. And even if that means that exploring it actually makes that voice think, never mind, like I
Yeah.
prefer what I'm doing, that's fine. But like we said earlier, if you're not 100% happy in your job, like there were things that I was really struggling with my full-time job, like when I worked at a company, and that's okay because that pushed me to get to where I am now. That's really, I think, why my voice got like louder and louder. And the other points where I'm really uncomfortable now, but at least I'm uncomfortable about something that I'm like really dedicated to or feel really good about. I support, see the mission and really believe it and all of that, which is that's fine. Like I'm not afraid of hard work. I just was like, well, I want to pick what my hard work is. I'm fine with a 12-hour day sometimes, but I also know that I could say, oh, I'm going to take off and go to this retreat, or I'm going to go on this trip or whatever. Like a Saturday, I don't care if I have to work on a Saturday because it's my own ownership and I'll do it. That's the heart I'm going to pick. And I would pick that 1,000,000 times, but that's because I listen to the voice that was inside telling me like try it, just see. And again, if you listen to it and think never mind, that's great. Then the voice will stop like nagging in your head every day at work. You'll be like, "Oh, I have this clarity that this is actually what I want to continue to do." And that's awesome too.
That's so true. It's so true of like we kind of going back to how we started. Like it's going to be hard. Either way, it's going to be
Mhm.
hard when you're at a other job and for me like kind of similar to you was like I just couldn't continue to go to work for somebody else and like you and I are similar that like I also can't be around people that complain and don't do anything about it. Like that is one of my biggest pet peeves of like it's such an energy suck for me that people are just complaining and complaining and complaining and not doing anything about it. And when I was an employee, that's what I was surrounded by. People were like, "This
Mhm.
place is awful," and this and that, and then nobody was making a change, and I'm like, "I feel like I'm going crazy." Like, I can't complain and then not do anything about it, and so that's what I did and started my own business and a lot of other reasons that I went into that, and like we said, it's not easy by any means. I would argue it gets well, I was gonna say it gets easier as you learn, but I think you just get bigger challenges as you grow and scale, so maybe that's not the right word, but it gets more fun. I think it gets more fun as you learn and grow.
Well, and I think you feel better about what's hard. Like when it
Yeah,
is hard, it feels somewhat easier because you're like, oh, I know that this is like just a temporary thing or just something
yeah.
I have to figure out versus like the first couple hiccups you have when you start, you literally are thinking, never mind, this was such a bad idea. I should scrap it all. And I
Yeah.
think, I mean, I'm not even super far in my journey at all, but I'm thinking now when there are hiccups, I'm not like, oh, I should just shut it down, go get a job as an employee somewhere. That's not what I'm thinking. So even if it's hard, it's easier in the sense that I trust myself more.
And not to keep bringing up clinicians anymore, but it's our podcast, so we can do whatever we want. I think that's the value of being in a community, right? Also,
Yeah.
when you're in a community that people genuinely care about you, like how many times does somebody put something in the community and we're like, no, you're not getting up. No, you're not doing this. Like because we see each other's potential and we know where each other have started and how far each other has come, that it's like, yeah, you can have a pity party. You can have a day to yourself to feel badly, but you better get up the next morning and you're gonna keep going on doing what you're doing, right? And that's the
Yeah.
value having each other. We mean that with love, of course, but to hold each other to the standard that we know we're capable of working at, which I think is really freaking cool.
Yeah, and it's people who get it. Like, I mean, I am really lucky. My family and friends are very supportive, but they don't really get it from the clinical side of things or
Yeah.
having the community and clinicians doing more. It's like people who really get it because they are clinical and they are stepping out and they don't have to be as encouraging, but they are. Um, but but it just feels like, okay, you really understand because you had a hard time like a couple weeks ago. And so you know exactly what I'm saying when I post this in the group.
It's so true. It's so true. So I guess my closing question for you, Kathryn, is if you were to look at Kathryn a year ago in what is it, August 2025 versus Kathryn now, what would you say the biggest aha moment was, the biggest change in like how you show up? Like what would you say the biggest transformation for you personally has been in the last year?
The confidence piece and a lot of the mindset stuff that you do, just feeling more sure of what I'm doing and sure that I can do it is probably the biggest thing. It wasn't any like clinical or business knowledge that is like the biggest transformation. I think it's thinking, okay, that sucked. What am I going to do? Versus like, that sucked. I guess I should shut it down.
And it's funny that you say that because and we talk about this too, like how a lot of BCBAs are like, "Mindset, that's mentalistic. I'm not talking about that," which is specifically why I'm like, "Nope, this is for BCBAs, but it's not behavior analytic because I am freaking obsessed with mindset." And like I truly believe if you train your mind and you or retrain, I should say, like it is like game over. If you know how to rewire and build that resilience in your mind, then you can freaking accomplish anything. Like there's
Yeah.
just no stopping us once we have that skill.
Yeah. So that's been, I think, the biggest glow up for me.
Well, I love it. Thank you, Kathryn, for being here. First official guest with the new podcast
Yay.
name. Like I said, I will post Kathryn's Instagram, her website, her lead magnet for anybody that is interested or knows somebody that is interested in her service. Obviously, I love her and I adore her. She wouldn't be on this podcast. So we will put all your info to get anyone that wants to reach out to you, Kathryn. Thank you for being here, and I will catch y'all next week.
Thank you.